Hello and welcome to the Tesla Tips and Tricks podcast. This is Rod Stuckey. Here with me is EVBid's co-founder and Tesla Tips and Tricks administrator, Tori Hornsby. Tori, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So excited to get going into today's podcast where we're going to cover some interesting posts from this week in our T3 Facebook group, including why not to unbuckle your seatbelt at the car wash, where to get tires rotated, the Model 3 versus the Model Y, charging using an RV hookup, and how to ensure you get a $7,500 new or $4,000 used tax credit. But before we jump into these topics today, Tori, for those who may not be familiar, tell us a little bit more about the T3 community.
Sure. Yeah. So Tesla Tips and Tricks is the largest Tesla tips oriented community in the world. We have just over 279,000 members, and our community provides guidance, insights, and real world practical advice for current and prospective Tesla owners. We have a large part of our group of members who they don't own a Tesla yet. They're just doing research, and we love that. We really appreciate that. We do work hard in our group, especially our Facebook group. As you can imagine, with 279,000 members, it can be hard to fight spam, remove inappropriate content, political posts and comments, and just to ensure a polite and courteous and fun community for all Tesla enthusiasts. And I do want to mention here that if you're looking to sell or to buy a good Tesla, be sure that you visit teslatipsandtricks.com and check out T3 auctions. These are not wholesale auctions. They are retail auctions, and it is the easiest way to sell a Tesla. It's also the most fun and easy way to buy a Tesla and know exactly what you're going to get. And we can even set up driveway to driveway shipping. You can shop from the comfort of your home and get a great Tesla. So check out teslatipsandtricks.com.
Yep. All right. Great. Well, so we have hundreds and hundreds of posts a week on the Tesla Tips and Tricks page. And so each week we kind of go through some of the posts that are interesting, some of the posts that are have a lot of comments, some of them that are just really, really good content. So we're going to jump in here to this comment that was actually like 13 hours ago and has over 300 comments already. And Tori, if you want to, for those watching on YouTube, or if you're listening, Tori's going to pull up the post. But the post says, "Here's a tip: don't unbuckle your seatbelt while in car wash mode."
Yes.
So, hey, Tori, just real quick for like new listeners, a lot of people don't realize a Tesla has a car wash mode. Before you jump into this, will you just tell everybody what car wash mode is for new listeners?
Yeah. So in order to, when you're at one of those car washes that pulls you through, like they call them drive through, but they're really not drive through. You put it in neutral, and then there's these little rollers that come and they kind of push you forward, and then you coast to a stop, and then it pushes you forward a little more. So those drive through type of car washes, when you got to be in neutral, but to get into neutral in a Tesla, you have to hit the brake and then shift to neutral. And so a lot of people kind of get real freaked out during that timing of everything. And so what car wash mode does is it puts it in neutral. It turns off your windshield wipers. It folds in your mirrors, and it just ensures that you're ready for your car to go through a car wash. And so that's what car wash mode does. And the thing is that because you're in neutral, and this isn't just in car wash mode, if you don't put it in car wash mode and you just manually put it in neutral and go through one of these car washes, it's the same thing. But you're in neutral and you're rolling a little, barely moving, and then coming to a stop. When you unbuckle your seatbelt, if it's buckled when you put it in neutral, the car goes, "Oh, you're getting out." And for safety reasons, it automatically puts it in park. So you can imagine what a surprise it would be if you're barely rolling and stopping in the middle of one of those roll through car washes, when you take your seatbelt off, that it puts it in park. And now the car wash wheels are going to be trying to lift you and push you and roll under the car. It's rough.
Let me just clarify, Tori. If you put it in park, I'm looking at a lot of the comments. I've never done this. I don't want to find out. I thought you had to shift your weight or remove weight from the seat in addition to unbuckling your seatbelt for it to go into park. Can you clarify on that?
I can. So if you're like a lot of people, whenever you go to a car wash, you may have already got out and done bug remover or something, and you get back in the car, you didn't put your seatbelt on. So you're not going to take it off. So then what this post or this comment by Kimberly says is, or lean onto the dash to wipe it. So now you put it in car wash mode or neutral and you're rolling through, you don't have your seatbelt buckled. So you're good. You're not going to unbuckle your seatbelt. It's already unbuckled. But if the seat sensor senses that you got out of the car or got up off the seat because you leaned forward to wipe the dash, it's going to put it in park. So those are two different ways that it can throw the car in park when you're barely rolling through. If your seatbelt's buckled and you unbuckle, it'll put it in park. If your seatbelt's already unbuckled and you're rolling through and you lean forward to get out of the seat, it'll throw it in park. So that is two different ways that it will throw your car into park in the car wash, barely moving.
Yeah. So it's funny because yesterday, literally, I was going through the car wash and my wife's had left a water bottle in the passenger side door panel, an empty water bottle. We had gone out and about Sunday and it was driving me crazy. And, you know, when you're at the car wash, you're in like, you know, I'm in the mode of getting the inside cleaned out as well. Because when I get done, I'm going to go over to the vacuum station. And I literally almost took my seatbelt off and leaned over to get that water bottle, which would have done exactly what we're talking about because I would have unbuckled my seatbelt. And so on one hand, it's like, why would you ever, how could this happen? But I had a real world example yesterday of this, you know, potentially could have happened to me. So pretty coincidental to me that this could have happened to me yesterday. I'm glad I waited till I got to the vacuum station before I grabbed that empty water bottle out of the passenger door panel.
Yep. That it is close in time from that being yesterday. But yeah, I think different models might have different sensors. So you could say maybe a Model 3 has the seat sensor when you lean forward. I think all of them do for seatbelt reasons, but I'm not going to test it. The best comment down here that I love is Lori says, I did this. Oops. Now I just sit there as still as can be. And I think that because this could have happened to me too. I don't use car wash mode. I just put it in neutral and fold my mirrors in manually. But I could definitely have seen myself leaning over out of the seat to try to wipe a dash down or get a piece of trash like you're saying and have this happen. So this is a very relevant tip, I think, to all of us.
Yeah. There was another comment that I'm trying to find it. The lady said she did it and it like stopped the whole line, and she was so embarrassed because she like stopped the whole car wash. So there's a lot of different kind of car washes obviously out there. I was trying to find the comment, but she said
I think the newer ones are probably a little more pressure sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, when I was 14 years old, I worked at a car wash over a summer. And when people didn't put the car in park, or if they kept it in park and didn't put it in neutral, it would lift the car up and then those rollers would go under the wheel and the car would sit back down. It wouldn't damage it. It was just rough looking. But so that still could happen, but I could also see where the sensors have improved and it just cuts the car wash off.
Yeah.
Makes them restart it.
Yeah. So good information there. So the tip is don't unbuckle your seatbelt while in car wash mode.
Or lift out of the seat. Either.
Or lift out of the seat. Either or. So moving to this next post, where do y'all, we got a Southerner here.
Yes.
I like to see a y'all. Where do y'all bring your cars to get your tires rotated?
Yep. And I know we have an international audience. And so that y'all, just to do a little bit of translation, that stands for all of you. You all. All of you guys, all of you.
You all.
Yeah. So y'all, where do y'all bring your cars to get your tires rotated? This question and subject of tires is often overthought. There's a lot of overthinking with this. And the simplest answer is just go to where you would rotate your tires if you didn't have a Tesla. So there's nothing special or fancy about a Tesla. I understand why people get worried because, there's 4 places around a Tesla to lift it up, and they're harder plastic, and they're not part of the battery. And so they're because if you lift up in the wrong place, you can damage the car, potentially damage the battery. So I get why people ask these questions like this, but I do always have pucks in my trunk. I keep a bag of 4 pucks, and what the pucks are is they go on the lift, and most big car places, tire places already have these pucks, but they go on the lift and they just add a rubber cushion to lift up on those places. And a lot of people will say you don't need those. The plastic is hard enough. I like to use them just because why not? Added layer of protection is good in my opinion. But so I bring the pucks, and then you can anywhere in America, Discount Tire, Big Ten Tires, your local tire place, anywhere internationally, anywhere that rotates tires, you can have them do it. Now I will mention one more thing. A lot of Tesla tires are staggered, meaning that the fronts are smaller and the backs are wider, and you cannot rotate those. So just double check your tire sizes, and if your tire sizes, the 275, 50, 20, if that's a different number on the rear than it is on the front, you can't rotate your tires.
Yeah.
You can switch the sides, but you can't do a real rotation of bringing the fronts to the back and the backs to the front and switching over. You can only go from driver's side to passenger side switch.
That's yeah. I know we've been through something similar to that, looking at replacing wheels due to different reasons of wanting to upgrade wheels, and finding out there's a lot of different sizes. Let me ask you one other question on this one, Tori. I know we have a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there. These cars tend to be very heavy. What's your experience with using a floor jack and pucks? I mean, these things are heavy. Is do-it-yourself tire rotation a thing, or is it not possible?
If you're doing a 4-corner rotation, I wouldn't do it myself. Yeah. The reason is that you can't get the car on jack stands. So whenever you occupy the space to lift the car up with the jack, and then you do a jack stand, it's just very difficult to manage getting all 4 tires off the ground. Unlike, like my old truck or other cars where you can jack it up, and then there's a place to put a jack stand. On these, there's 4 places. And if you're occupying one with the jack, there's no place to put the jack stand on that corner. So if this is a 4-wheel rotation, you really want to lift for this. If you're doing just the front, you could, or if you have 2 jacks and you want to swap left and right sides over, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it with a Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah. These things are a little bit different animal. I love the puck debate. I know you're going to get lit up with people telling you don't need pucks, but
yeah, my video where I
little extra protection, in my opinion, never hurt. So
yeah, people are funny about that. Just the comments on my video there that were like, you don't have to have this.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's a big, thicker piece of hard plastic there, but I just don't want to put a metal jack on that. I'd rather have a rubber separation.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff on tire rotation. Let's move to number 3. I just ordered a 2025 Tesla Model 3, but deep down inside wished I just ordered the Tesla Y. Always a good debate. The 3 versus the Y versus the X versus the S. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody has different use cases, but take us through some of the comments, features and benefits between the 2 of these, Tori.
Sure. And first, for those who don't know, the S and the X are they're considered a little more premium, right? They have additional features, additional screen. And the 3 and the Y are considered a little more economical, a little less expensive. And not that they're bad at all, but just that is the offering between the S and the X and the 3 and the Y. And so a lot of people do look at the 2 less expensive models and the 3 and the Y. The 3 is a sedan and the Y is a crossover or an SUV. And so it has more room. And that's what you see. I like the first comment here for Kendra. Sarah says, get what you want. I forfeited my order fee, which is $250 on a new Model Y rear-wheel drive in December. And the same day just bought a used 2021. So you can cancel your 3 and get a Y if that's what you really want, Kendra. And that's really the best advice here. But everybody else has, their opinions. Most people say get a Y, and Joshua here saying get a Y, you won't regret it. Everyone I know who had a 3 regretted not getting a Y or has already changed to a Y. The price isn't that much difference, and the Y has so much more space and is much more practical. But then if I come down and look at Eileen is a fan of the 3. She says, I love my 3. I've rented the Y several times for vacations, and the 3 is just more fun to drive. It's more zippy. It's more nimble. It feels sportier. If you've done a test drive on both, or if you haven't done a test drive on both, I would compare. And I think that is the best, synopsis of Model Y versus Model 3, why you would get each, and 2 people who love each one. But that added comment of test driving both of them, man, that's really it. Which one do you prefer? And then buy that. And now this is Tesla's site that I'm showing on the screen. And the price, this is including gas savings, their discount, and the $7,500 tax credit. But the Model Y is $31,490. The Model 3 is $29,990. So there's really pretty close in price here. The Model 3 is the refresh, the Highland. So you're going to get the newer refresh car with a bit more refined interior. It has a 363 mile on the rear wheel drive long range for both of these versus a 337 on the Model Y. So you're going to get 29 more miles, I think that is, of range, a little bit more range. Both have a 5-seat configuration. The cargo capacity on the Model Y is 76 cubic feet compared to 24 cubic feet. So that right there, that says it all. It's 76 cubic feet on the Model Y versus 24 cubic feet. That's why people get the Y. But
yeah, I got a friend of mine that just got the Y, and he's been just bragging to me about the storage space. He got some of the different aftermarket organizational, shelves and stuff, and he loves the storage in the Y.
Yep.
But that's not a big deal to some people. I mean, it's interesting, like the commenter said, 4.9 seconds 0 to 60 for the 3 and 6.5 for the Y. The 3 is a little bit zippier. It's a little
that quicker. Might be more important to you.
And so you may not want to tote groceries and kids. You might want a little bit more pep in the step.
Yep. So that's it.
I do want to circle back. You mentioned the price and those prices. I don't agree with how Tesla does their new pricing, and I just bought a new one, so maybe I'm biased, but they deduct out the $7,500 tax credit, which you may or may not qualify for. They deduct your gas savings, and I think there's even some other chinsy thing that they do.
Yeah, so just looking here, the long range rear wheel drive, which is what we were looking at, is $29,990. And if I take out the $7,500 federal tax credit savings and 5-year gas savings of
5-year gas savings. Now this is the real price.
It's really $42,490.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how they get away with doing that, but
I'm not a fan of that either.
It's the price is $42,490, not $29,000.
Although the $7,500 tax credit, and one thing you can do on the site for those who are listening is you can click edit savings and you can uncheck the gas savings, and then you can include your taxes and fees. And so you can get a better idea of what is this really going to cost you. And so including taxes and fees without the tax credit, that 42 $500 goes to $47,500 almost. And then if I add in the federal tax credit, it's going to be $39,976, including taxes and fees. And if I don't want to show taxes and fees, I can uncheck that. And now this $42,490 car's $34,990. And so that I could even look at and go, okay, if you're eligible for the $7,500 new federal tax credit, it's going to cost you 35 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just if you're shopping, my recommendation is to uncheck the box and then back
Get
into
the real
it.
price. Yes.
Get the real price. Nobody wants 5-year gas savings deducted from the price when they're trying to figure out their budget for what.
No, because it doesn't reduce your price.
It does not reduce the price.
I might be buying it for those savings.
That's comparing apples and orangutans. You can't deduct my 5 years of gas savings from the price. So
you can deduct the tax credit.
I love you, Tesla. I love you, but
come on, man.
I don't agree with that.
Yep.
So, all right, cool. Well, anything else there, Tori, on the 3 versus the Y before it's personal preference, but
personal preference. Go test drive them.
Yep, go test drive them. That's the thing. And think about how, is storage or performance, which one of those two is more important to you, and you're going to sneak up on an answer pretty quickly. So
a little more range.
Number 2, can the wiser electricians out there please advise if this is usable for Tesla charging or strictly for RV travel trailer? Let me say that again. Can wiser electricians advise if this is usable for Tesla charging or strictly for RV travel trailer? And for those listening and not watching, Tori is showing a picture on the screen of a 30 amp RV plug at an RV park, basically, is what we're looking at.
So the short answer that you find in the comments is that yes, it is. No problem. You just need an adapter. So ignore for those who can see the screen, there's an answer that says no. And that is not true. You can use this. It's no problem. But very important, they will tell you what the charging rate and amperage is and the voltage of the plug on here. So if you look closely at this one, you can see that this is, as you said, Rod, a 30 amp. It says it right there, 30A, and it's 125 volts. So what you might think, because the plug is bigger, is that it's a 30 amp 240 volt or 220 volt. It's not. It's basically just a bigger plug for a normal house receptacle, and normal house receptacle is 20 amps. This is 30 amps. So what you would want to do is you'd want to get an adapter. This is a TT-30R plug. That is the type of plug that it is, and get one that you can keep in the car if you're going to be doing this. Something like this doesn't have to be this one, but what this plug does is it plugs into that receptacle, that 30 amp RV trailer hookup, and then it gives you a household normal receptacle plug-in for your travel charger. And you could also do this with, a different plug. The Tesla travel chargers, actually, you can get different plugs that go into the end of it for 240 or for 110. And so there might be one, I'm not sure if there is, that you can buy that goes straight into your Tesla travel adapter and has that 3-prong 30 amp RV trailer connection. But if not, again, this $20, $23.
You're showing that's a 30 amp male on one end with a 110 female on the other end, correct?
That's correct. Yep. And then the last thing that you just want to be mindful of is that, and it shouldn't be a problem with 110 or 125 volts, but at my house, I have a 240 volt connector. And so Tesla is expecting for it to charge at 50 amps. And I had to lower it and say, nope, don't do that, because it's only a 30 amp circuit. So you just want to be sure that in your Tesla app, that you're not exceeding the rated amperage of the line, the plug that it's run to. So for 125 volt AC, it should default to 20 amps. You could even raise that to 30 because this is a 30 amp circuit. But the plug tells you what it is capable of, All you need is an adapter, and make sure that you don't charge at a higher amperage than what it's rated to on the plug.
Okay. All right. Moving on, our last post we're going to talk about this week is I bought a 2024 Tesla last year and was told I could get the $7,500 EV tax credit. Filed my taxes, and now they're saying it's no applicable.
Not applicable, yeah. And then he says, is anyone having trouble as well? And I think that there are other people who are having trouble, but as you read through these comments, and there's 116 comments on this one, and people are misinformed on this. We're experts because we have our dealer's license and we process the tax credit. So we know everything all around all of the nuances of this. So what I want to do is I want to pull up our website and get the real answer to this. And the short answer is no, because they didn't file it and do a time of sale report at the time of purchase. You have to do that. So he cannot get the tax credit. But I want to talk about the nuances of why that is. So I'm going to go over to teslatipsandtricks.com. This is our site. I've clicked on tax credit, and first and foremost, there's comments there that are saying, oh, it's probably your income. No. He is at his tax, wants to get the tax credit. He is eligible, and he's trying to get it now. The problem isn't his eligibility. The problem is now technically the vehicle eligibility, because the vehicle wasn't registered at time of sale to receive the tax credit. So on this page down at the bottom, we've got a section that says straight from the IRS. So I'm going to click on used clean vehicle tax credit, and this will take me to the used because that's what we specialize in. But I can go right up here to new vehicles bought 2023 or after. The first thing I want to point out here, Rod, is that you do have the option to transfer the credit and apply it to the sale price, or get it when you file your taxes. I don't know why you would wait, but I can tell you that if you don't transfer the tax credit at time of purchase, it becomes non-refundable when you file your taxes, meaning that you can't get back more on the credit than you owe in taxes. So in other words, let's just say that when I'm buying the vehicle, I can get $7,500 right now. Done. Good. But I say, no, I want to wait until I file my taxes. So then I file my taxes, and my total liabilities, I owe $2,500 in taxes. Well, the $7,500 credit would wipe out the $2,500 that I owe, but I wouldn't get a refund of $5,000 because it becomes non-refundable if you don't transfer it to the dealer at time of purchase. Does that make sense, Rod, that I say that?
Yeah, it does. And there's absolutely no reason why you would not want to take the credit at the point of sale. I just went through, as I mentioned, a new purchase, and I knew I didn't qualify. So, but you can only buy new from Tesla, and I'm really curious, and I don't know. I was looking through the comments to see if anyone who had gotten the credit at the point of sale, how Tesla does that. I did see on my bill of sale there was a line item for it, and it was zero. I guess I checked a box somewhere, but there's no reason if you're and Tori, take us up, scroll up, and just take us through real quick, because I know you mentioned this wasn't it, but take us through the eligibility requirements for those that may be interested on who qualifies.
Yeah, and then I want to go through and fully answer his question. But the qualification for the individual for new is that you buy it for your own use and not for resale. It's not going to be for commercial use. That it's obviously for use primarily in the U.S. Your adjusted gross income cannot exceed $300,000 for married couples filing jointly or surviving spouse, $225,000 for heads of household, or $150,000 for all other filers. Now, if you're buying used and you want the $4,000 tax credit, these numbers are cut in half. So it's 150, and then it goes down to 125, and then it goes down to 75,000. But for new, this guy apparently changed his mind later and wanted to get it, but and was eligible. But now, well, let's go down to vehicle, and you go, okay, well, how is the vehicle eligible? Well, there is certain eligibility requirements for the vehicle. It has to have a battery capacity of at least 7 kilowatt hours, a gross vehicle weight of less than 14,000 pounds, be made by a qualified manufacturer, undergo final assembly in North America. So a car built overseas couldn't be put in America and you get the tax credit. It has to be assembled in North America. And there's some critical mineral and battery components requirements as of April 2023. So the sale qualifies only if you buy the vehicle new. And number two, this is it. If the seller reports required information at the time of sale to the IRS. And so now if we go down to this step by step, you're going to see step one, check eligibility. Make sure that you meet the necessary criteria, and then make sure that the vehicle is eligible. And then the seller can tell you that. Step two, purchase the vehicle. When you buy the vehicle, confirm with the seller the car that you've selected is eligible for the credit. Choose when you're going to take the credit. You can take the credit immediately, or you can wait when you file your taxes. As you said, Rod, take it immediately. There's no reason for you to wait and file it later. And then we come down to step three, get a time of sale report. The seller has to notify the IRS that the vehicle transaction has taken place and that a tax credit is going to be either applied today or not be transferred and taken when they file taxes. But if the dealer does not submit a time of sale report to the IRS, it is ineligible for the tax credit. And you have 5 days. The dealer has 5 business days to submit this. If they don't submit it within 5 days, you're done. And then step 4, it says, if you didn't get a time of sale report, contact your seller and they can send you another one. And then use step 5, file a form 8936 with your tax return. So his question was, I bought one last year new. I was told I could get the $7,500 tax credit. I filed my taxes and now they're saying it's not applicable. So I'm not sure where the breakdown in communication was with this, but when he made the purchase, he wasn't expecting the $7,500. To me, it sounds like Daniel may have changed his mind or just maybe completely misunderstood that he had to wait until he filed his taxes. Either way, no. The answer is no. You cannot get it unless at the time of sale, the selling dealership, and this is for used as well, for new or used, the selling dealership must submit the sale, a time of sale report to the IRS.
And that can be tricky on new when the seller is Tesla and you're doing it all basically electronically and virtually and never talking to a human being. So
that's right.
That can be a little tricky. So, well, there you have it. That's our 5 interesting posts from the Tesla Tips and Tricks Facebook group. And for those watching on YouTube, if you haven't yet joined our group, go join our group. Head over to TeslaTipsAndTricks.com and opt into our email list for the latest news and information, and to check out our Tesla Tips and Tricks auctions that happen live weekly. And what else, Tori, as we wrap up today?
Just check on TeslaTipsAndTricks.com and click on T3 auctions if you're looking to sell. You can also click on Sell My Tesla up in the navigation of TeslaTipsAndTricks.com. And man, check it out. We'll list it. We'll put up with all the drama. So it's no drama for you. We'll help you all through the process. We can apply the used EV tax credit on the sale. And there's no cost for sellers to list. So check it out. And if you're looking to buy, go see what we have live and bid away. We'll help you to set up shipping straight to your driveway. It'll be the easiest, most fun transaction that you've ever had on buying a vehicle, period, let alone a Tesla. So we're dedicated, obviously, to Teslas for this, and we're happy to help especially our members in the Tesla Tips and Tricks community to buy or sell a nice, clean Tesla.
All right, that's it. Thanks, Tori, as always. Enjoyed it. We'll see everybody on the next episode.